All right, so for the Chapter 3 quiz review, I'm going to go over these questions. Make sure you take notes so you have them for your quiz when you take it today. So number 1 says identify a pair of perpendicular segments. So perpendicular lines or segments are going to form a 90-degree angle. So you are going to look and see in this picture, there is a 90-degree angle labeled. So I'm definitely going to use some segments that are attached to that. So DH is going up and down, and then HG is going side to side, or I could pick HE that's going backwards. So for this answer, I'm just going to write segment DH is perpendicular to HG. Next is identify a pair of parallel segments. So we are going to look for segments that are never going to touch if they are extended. So if I look here, I have these arrows that indicate parallel lines. So I know for sure that those are going to never touch, and that's telling me they're parallel. But if there's no arrows, you have to look for lines that if you extended, they're never going to touch. So for this one is DC is parallel to HG. Number 3, we're going to look at the picture off to the right-hand side here. It says give an example of a pair of alternate interior angles. So alternate means on opposite sides of the transversal. Interior means on the inside. So there's 2 different answers. I could pick 2 and 5, or I could pick 3 and 6. It does not matter. There's 2 possibilities here. So I'm just going to say angle 2 and angle 5. Give an example of a pair of corresponding angles. So remember, if we decided to cut this picture in half, corresponding angles would be in the same spot on each piece. So we actually have 4 different pairs here. So if I start with angle 1 is on the top left-hand side. So I'm going to pick the angle that's on the top left-hand side over here, which is angle 6. Okay. Oops, I didn't want to delete that line. All right, and then give an example of a pair of alternate exterior. So alternate exterior is on opposite sides of the transversal, but on the outside of the other 2 lines. So if I started with angle 1, I would have to say angle 8 because it's on the opposite side of that transversal and it's on the outside as well. So angle 1 and angle 8. I could have picked 4 and 7 as well. All right, and for our last question about this drawing, same side interior. So on the inside and on the same side of the transversal. So I can say angle 2 and angle 6. I could also pick angle 3 and 5 as a pair. All right, number 7, find the missing angle measure. So if we look, this 87 degrees is in the top right-hand corner of those 4 angles. And if I look at the other set of 4 angles on the top, that X is also in the top right-hand corner. So they are corresponding angles, so they are the exact same because those arrows indicate that those lines are parallel. So the measures of those angles are the same. So 87 degrees is that missing angle. Number 8, find the missing angle measure here. These lines are parallel, so these are alternate interior angles, so those are the exact same measure. So I am going to set both angles equal to each other. So we're going to have 4x minus 14 equals 3x plus 12. I'm going to move the 3x first, so I'm going to minus 3x from both sides. So I have 1x minus 14 here equals 12. And then I'm going to add 14 to both sides. So x equals 26. Now I have to plug it into one of those 2. We know that because they're alternate interior angles, that they're the exact same measure. So I'm just going to pick that top one. So I'm going to do 4 times 26 for the x minus 14. And 4 times 26 is 104. And when I do 104 minus 14, I get 90 degrees. So the angle measures of both of those angles is 90 degrees. Then for numbers 9 and 10, we're going to use the given information and theorems and postulates that we have learned to show that A is parallel to B. And I didn't label those, so let's do that. So A and B here. All right, so angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. So here's 1, and here is 5. So what kind of angles are they? They are alternate because they're on the opposite sides of the transversal, and they are exterior. So what we have learned is that if we have to prove lines are parallel, then we're using the converse theorem, because the regular theorem of alternate exterior angles tells us that two lines are parallel, proves that lines are parallel. So we're going backwards. We already told they're parallel. We have to prove, or we're told that the angles are congruent, so we have to prove the lines are parallel. So we have to use the converse theorem. So we have to use converse of alternate exterior angles theorem. And then here, for number 10, we are told that the measure of angle 8 is 13x plus 20, and the measure of angle 6 is 7x plus 38, and then we're told x is 3. So we have to plug in the x here. So we have 13 times 3 plus 20, so that's 39 plus 20. So the measure of angle 8 is 59 degrees. And then we do 7 times 3 plus 38. So that's 21 plus 38, so that's 59 degrees. So we are showing that these two angles are the same measure. And if we look at the picture, angles 6 and 8, so here is 6, here is 8, those are corresponding angles because they're in the same spot, but on different pieces. So this is due to the fact of the converse of corresponding angles postulate, because we are proving the lines parallel, so then we're given the angle measures. So if we're given angle measures, then we have to use the converse theorem. If we are given the fact that the lines are parallel and asked to find angle measures to prove, then that is just the regular corresponding angles or alternate exterior angles or whatever they are theorem. So this is our review. Please come to our Zoom tomorrow with any questions that you have on this.